All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Let's see if it's local or city search. Well, actually, they're both combined here. Have BSS, yes or no? So we're back here at the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, video on the homepage, wherever. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Now, way over on the left, we got our highest intent people. These are our, Google and social searchers. They're searching for a boudoir photo shoot, like in their city right now. So it's the highest intent peeps. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. We got to reach them through interruption marketing, through, Facebook, Instagram. These people are not searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and nearly all of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. So we talk about that actually on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And we talk about BLCS over there, and currently we only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But over here, we're all about the BSS, so let's see what that's about. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, we're dead, kind of out of the water. That means we're on page 2 or deeper. And as a result, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which is the bulk of the market, no bueno. And 1 slot on page 1 Google is not good either, because we're looking like everyone else. We're basically invisible. Everyone else has got 1 slot, and there's 10 organic slots there. So that means basically 9 other boudoir photographers. So what's a buyer going to do? They're, approximately 80% of buyers. They're going to be just clicking down, opening the link to everyone's, to literally everyone's business, boudoir photography website, contacting everyone, submitting the contact form, getting a quote, price shopping, price hunting, comparing, negotiating, killing all our margins, and killing our business. So BSS, we do not know that. We do not want that. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. It's common, it's accepted, but it's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. So 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about market saturation. Yeah, as people kind of, people just eventually get new gear, get new iPhones, get new cameras, then they're throwing up the Google Maps profiles and they shoot boudoir now. They're creating their websites and they shoot boudoir now, competing with us for page 1 Google search dominance. They are increasing, or, they're also posting in the mom groups and Facebooks and they now shoot boudoir. So it's just more boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers, making it harder for every other boudoir photographer to get clients. Now, the second part here is new. That's the false belief of page 1 equality. So it's kind of automatically accepted with boudoir photographers. So it's kind of like, assuming or accepting every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 of Google, and that's how it is. You gotta accept it, blah blah blah. And maybe we had a lower page 1 slot on page 1 of Google, and then new boudoir photographer came in, their website ranked higher, and then we are, now we're pushed to page 2. So it's like, well, that's simply the way things are. Hopefully that person deletes their website so it stops indexing on Google, and Google can bring us back up onto page 1. But actually, this line of thinking is incorrect, because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days using our new methodology, which we'll get to in like 2 more pictures. But what it tells us is we got to break through this mindset or this false belief of page 1 equality, because it's not true. Google will actually literally give as many page 1 slots as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. And again, I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, so if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, approximately 80% of the market's never even seen us. Yeah, we're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, we're still basically invisible. We're looking like everyone else, no differentiation. We're getting price shopped, getting killed. Our margins are getting killed. I mean, we're wasting our time talking to all these people, and we're a disappearing boudoir photographer in that case again. And in both cases, this is like a warning light, kind of a raising the red flag that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing as well. But finally, we have a solution. We finally got a solution here. We have, after investigating and testing, we've learned that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. It's what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, in only 10 days. And interesting thing about this is the only strategy or methodology I've seen for boudoir photographers that can allow a boudoir photography business to grow in the presence, still grow in the presence of massive market saturation and have it, be able to happen relatively quickly. The only other option is to have a strong, massively known brand, which takes 5 to 10 years, which does not satisfy the relatively quickly requirement because we no longer have any time. AI is here taking people's jobs. We got to dominate our city ASAP. We don't have time to build a 5 to 10-year brand. But interestingly enough, using S-cube methodology, by my estimate, probably 8x the speed of building a brand. And imagine if using S-cube methodology with a super well-known brand, basically undefeatable. So how does this strategy work? I mean, it's exactly as the name says, social search saturation, saturating social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. And when we do that, that's kind of like it's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains. The snow is melting back there. They're in South America, and it's running off. You got small streams, small rivers. They all run off. They all collect into the Amazon River. So the Amazon River is page 1 of Google, but where everything starts, all our inputs need to happen is utilizing S-cube methodology, social search saturation. And, kind of an interesting example here is let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're one of them. Everyone's competing. Everyone's got their boudoir website trying to rank page 1 on Google. And we're like, all right, for us to compete, we gotta stop our potential buyers from even seeing any of our competitors. We gotta crank up S-cube methodology to the max. So let's say we are increasing, let's say we take over the first 300 slots across social search, across all the social platforms, and then that bleeds onto page 1 on Google. We got the first 300 organic slots on Google. Now it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, which means we're taking over the first 30 pages, and if approximately 80% of people ain't even going from page 1 to page 2, basically ain't nobody going from page 1 to page 3. Actually, they have to go to page 31 to essentially find one of our competitors. So if we're essentially on what peeps can find when they search on social media, when they search on Google, whose business will still be growing? Ours. Whose business will be shrinking? Well, the 999,999 other boudoir photographers will be shrinking. And as a result, S-cube methodology has allowed our business to continue to grow, even in a super saturated market, even with having no brand. But this actually helps us get a brand by my estimate 8x faster. So this is the magic of S-cube methodology for boudoir photographers. Next, once you're with S-cube methodology, we have page 1 visibility. So initial benefit, we get more slots page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is we are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So they go to page 2 or deeper. Approximately 80% of buyers never even see them because approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only searches. Awesome. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe recommends us to get 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google, because when we're compared against everyone else with 1 slot, we dominate them. And super, super rare, but someone could have 2 slots. But if we got 3, we dominate them as well. So we're basically dominating in nearly all scenarios. Now, boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got our final mini micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. But now we know it's false. We can utilize our solution. Now we know the solution is S-cubed methodology. And we achieve page 1 visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now, my results utilizing S-cubed methodology, real quick here. I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So I actually went to, I straight up used S-cubed methodology. And let's look at the organic So I started with 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google. Let's see, I got organic slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So as a result, in 10 days, went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google for the search term I want to rank for. And these are my results utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, we're here for the main event. We're going to check and see, is this boudoir photography business have BSS for its search? It's local and its city search combined in this one. I think we're in like a small town, small city. See if we hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10, page 1, Google page 1 slots. All right, so we're going to Aberdeen, North Carolina. All right, nice. Let's see. Aberdeen, Maysville. Nope, we ain't searching for that. All right, nope. Had that. Nope. Here we go. We got one. Oh, she's in North Carolina and NYC. Okay. Okay, we got 1 out of 10. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. And since we got 1 out of 10, we got BSS for this local/city search, and we also did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer and you want to, so you've done the local searches, you've done your city search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, you're seeing you got 0 slots page 1 on Google, either one or both of them, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google for one or both of them, and you've accepted the belief, the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and you understand now that we can actually take as many page 1 slots on Google search as we want, and you see an S-cubed methodology is the only way, the only path for you to get you there, and you've been waiting for something like S-cubed methodology for a while, and you're liking the initial benefits, more slots page 1 on Google, and you really like kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 on Google, making them invisible to practically 80% of Google searches. You really like that one. Those initial benefits, sure. You understand the market saturation? Yeah, new gear, new peeps, boudoir photographers entering all the time, getting more and more difficult over all the time. And you're seeing that, you're actually looking ahead and you're seeing AI taking more and more people's jobs. And the last time that happened with COVID, people losing jobs, well, people still had to earn money. So they were actually forced to become boudoir photographers because, everyone's got a superpowered smartphone with a superpowered camera. So kind of the next natural thing, become boudoir photographer. And you're seeing that's going to happen in a much bigger wave over the, as AI takes more and more people's jobs. So not only do you need these slots on Google, you actually need like so many backup links that Google wants to rank on page 1 for you, but there's not enough room, so they're ranking you page 2, 3, and 4. Like basically you need to fortify your positions on page 1 with like so many backup links that no current competing boudoir photographer ever has any chance to rank on page 1, nor any future competing boudoir photographer who came in because AI took their job can ever have a chance of ranking on page 1. And kind of like fortifying your position, kind of like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, the lowest, because the city is actually below sea level. And you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the only thing that can help you fortify your position with so many backup links that are needed. You're also understanding that the S-cubed methodology, we're building up basically invisible thematic keyword columns around, kind of attached to your brand name, business name, website name, social handles names, kind of like this whole, keyword cluster ecosystem in the back end of AI Mindshare. And every day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology and add to those invisible thematic keyword columns, that we're actually increasing the probability we show up here in AI overview, the most premium placement out there that we cannot pay for, and Google can recommend us here. We're also increasing the probability every single day of executing execute methodology, the AI search recommends us. So it's ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, um, and Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Increased probability showing up in those searches every single day. We successfully execute execute methodology. And last time I searched for boudoir photographer in a city, it was with ChatGPT and it displayed 3. And I went and manually searched on Google and Facebook, and dude, there were like 60. So you're saying, and I was like, man, we gotta get part of these slots any way possible. So you're actually wanting to all those feature benefits as well as estimated 8x faster growing a brand, a large well-known brand, to further insulate yourself from market saturation. And you also understand that my current plan is to work with only one boudoir photographer per city. And as a result, you're seeing you can get all these benefits and most importantly, build up so much kind of like back-end AI mindshare momentum with all these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to your brand and AI mindshare space that you are able to build up a gap so large that basically no current competing boudoir photographer can ever reach you, nor any future competing boudoir photographer coming from AI, because AI took their job, can ever catch you. So you decided to be a first mover in your city, take advantage of this because the converse, whoever a competing boudoir photographer actually signs on with me first in your same city, means we're going to be kicking you off page 1, maybe even page 2. You'll be resigned to page 3 or deeper. And we'll be fortifying them on page 1, so your chance of getting back up page 1 will be close to 0. And the boudoir photographers come from AI taking their jobs, their normal jobs, and they have become boudoir photographers. That's always going to keep increasing, so it may push you off deeper into further and further pages. And we'll actually be building up a massive gap of AI mindshare, back-end AI mindshare with all these invisible thematic keyword columns that will probably be too large for you to overcome. And for you to overcome that, you'd have to actually rederive SQ methodology by yourself. Well, you'd have to derive it the first time, and you would never feel 100% confident you've derived it correctly the first time. Then you'd have to execute it every single day, same as us. But if you did all that, you'd simply be maintaining the gap, me and your competitor, that large gap, me and your competitor would have already built up against you. So in order to close that gap and kind of pull that invisible thematic keyword column back-end AI mindshare towards you away from us, you'd probably have to double or triple our execution every single day. And it'll be difficult to put in that effort because, again, you're not going to feel 100% confident you've even derived the methodology correctly in the first place. And dude, who even has 80 days to do or 80 hours in a day to do all this stuff? So you're seeing all that and you're like, screw this. I'm actually going to be the first mover in my city, get the advantage, and lock out all my competitors from using this technology. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital's not currently accepting new patients. But when our DMs do open, then shoot us a DM and we'll see if you qualify for utilizing S cubed methodology.